worship you and praise you for the chance to be in your presence and experience your love. Most of all, God, we thank you that you live inside of us, that you're working inside of each and every one of us. And so, God, continue to open our eyes and our ears and our hearts and our minds to what you have in store for us on this day, for this moment in our lives and on this journey. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen. Amen. So I used to be a camper. I used to go to camp. I had a lot of fun at camp. I'm looking this way because these are my campers right here. If you went to Holmes this summer, wave your hand. Hi! So we had some Holmes kids. We have some YMCA kids. If you went to the YMCA, wave your hand. Hey! We have some YMCA kids. If you, in your lifetime, if you've ever been to camp, think back to when you were a kid. If you've ever been to camp, wave your hand. Oh, nice! That makes me really excited. If you've never been to camp, go, aww. It's not too late because Holmes is for everyone. That was my commercial break. Let's get back to the sermon. All right, so I went to camp. I love camp. My favorite part of camp was the campfire. I really enjoyed the campfire. Even now, I enjoy like the smell of wood and the taste of s'mores. You ever had a s'more? Put on there the graham cracker. Yes, somebody said hallelujah for the s'mores. The graham cracker and the marshmallow and the chocolate. There's some good stuff. When I went to camp, we had to make dinner on the fire. They would give us, well, let me back up. I was the counselor for 2 years for 12-year-old girls. 12-year-old girls, and there were 12 girls in each cabin. So anybody ever had a 12-year-old girl, like just one of them? Yeah, I had 12 of them for 2 weeks. 12-year-old girls for 2 weeks, and I'm still standing. I made it, Jesus. I made it. They're great girls. They were awesome. But when you tell girls that for one night out of the 2 weeks they're going to sleep outside, they lose their minds. I mean, I didn't have you girls. I had like girly girls. And I don't even know why they were at camp. Like, camp is outside. There was no electricity. And these girls, they said, we're going to sleep outside under the tarp. And they were like, no, bugs! But we did it. This camp was kind of cool. They gave you a cooler of stuff, and you had to climb this mountain. Not mountain. It wasn't a mountain. It felt like a mountain with 12-year-old girls. It was like a little hill, and then you had to climb up there with the cooler, and then you had to bring the tarp out and make a tent with the tarp just in case it rained, which it always did rain. It always rained. And so then they would give us in the cooler these little tinfoil things, and we have like canned chicken and green beans, and they would make a little meal and potatoes. You put it in, you put it on the fire, and then you make your s'mores. And so the girls, they were excited about the food or whatever, but they weren't excited about the bugs, and they thought bears were going to come and eat them, and skunks were going to, I'm like, there's no bears that are going to eat you. There's bears, but they're not going to eat you. So we would get around there, and what I loved about the campfire is like there were so many things you could do. You can make the snacks, you can make dinner, you sit around the campfire and you tell really good stories. It keeps you warm and cozy. And when you watch on TV, like how they build a campfire, it looks really easy on TV, doesn't it? Like you go, da, 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 you go get your wood, there's always nice music playing, and the wood is always dry, and it's always accessible, and you just go over here, and you just get your wood, and you, and you build your fire, and everybody's usually really very happy. In real life, with 12-year-old girls, that is not the case. It was rainy, which means every piece of wood in the whole entire forest was wet. And you can't make a nice fire with wet wood, right? No, your fire is not going to be good. So you go trekking through the woods with 12-year-old girls looking for dry wood. And here you go, and they're crying in the back and smacking mosquitoes and smacking each other. And so finally we got enough wood. I remember the night really, really well. It was nighttime. We put our tent up. We went to get the wood. We cleared our little space. We went to build it, and we weren't building it properly. I knew the way to build a fire, but with 12-year-old girls, you kind of lose all sense of reality. And I forgot what I was doing. The girl said, let's put this powdered Gatorade on it and see what happens. Did you know that powdered Gatorade is flammable? Yeah, it was like, whew. I was like, oh my goodness, we're going to put, stop it, girls, no. These are the dangers of building a fire not the right way. This is my commercial. Children, do not try to throw Madison. Malcolm. Do not try powdered Gatorade on anything flammable, all right? Promise me? All right, so I see you looking. I know what you're trying to do back there. Yeah, I got my eyes on you. No flammable Gatorade fires, all right? But this is what the girls did. I turned my back to look for more wood, and they said, we got fire. Yeah, we got fire, all right. You know who I needed at that point? Smokey Bear. Who does not know Smokey Bear? Smokey Bear is the coolest bear ever because he has a cool, you don't know Smokey Bear? Oh, man, I wish I had a picture of Smokey Bear. It's too late for me to get the picture, right? He has this cool hat, and he says, what is his line? Only you can prevent forest fires. Yay, that was really cool. So for today's sermon, I needed some inspiration, so I went to my dear friend Smokey Bear, because you didn't know Smokey Bear was a Christian. He is. And he inspired me with a couple of things about building a fire. First, he says there is a proper way to build a good and safe fire. He says you have to gather 3 types of wood. Who knows what those 3 types of wood are? Anybody? Kindling, tinder, and then there's one, what's the big? The firewood. We could go build a fire right now, 10 o'clock. 8 o'clock was like, we would not have a good fire at 8 o'clock, but this one, we should go to the parking lot right now. I feel like we should do it. 3 types of fire, tinder, kindling, and for your fuel, you use the larger firewood. You loosely pile a few handfuls of tinder in the center of your fire pit or fire ring, so you want to make sure you're not in the middle of the woods. You're going to blow the whole thing up, right? You want to find a space that's safe for everybody. You add some piles, some handfuls of your tinder, and then you add the kindling. So your kindling is about 1 inch. It's about 1 inch around. You add that in there, and then you take your matches, your handy-dandy match. We're not going to go back to the rubbing the sticks. Come on, come with me. We're going to get some matches. We brought them in our cooler. We light the match. We put it in. Ooh, we light the little kindling. Don't throw it in there, right? We might need, maybe we only have 3 matches. We're in the woods. We can't go back to the campground and get any. So we light it. Whoo, we cool it. We don't throw it in the forest because Smokey Bear will come and we'll all be arrested, right? We make sure it's cool, and then we put that in there with the tinder and the kindling. We add a little bit more tinder to the fire, and then what's the main ingredient to make your fire go? Somebody said it. Breath. Somebody has to. And then what happens when you, what happens to it? It starts to smoke, and it starts to get a little bigger, right? So that breath really kind of gives it its big thing, and then you add a little bit more kindling, and then you go get your larger pieces, you go get your firewood, and there you have it. You have your nice fire, and what all these 3 pieces do is it keeps the fire under control, so that you don't have a whole fire and it's going all over the place and people running from sparks. You have it so it's under control. This seems like a lot of work, doesn't it? It's not what they do on TV. On TV, they reach over, they put it, and it happens. You have to go and gather the wood. You have to make sure it's the right kind of wood in order to have a successful fire. You're not going to keep bodies warm or your food hot if your fire is sorry. If your fire is a little spark, it's not going to work. It has to be built. To have a successful fire, you have to have some preparation and some time and some energy and some work and some patience. It requires a person to pay attention to the steps. You can't start out with your firewood and then add your kindling later. No, there's a process. It has to build on top of each other. If you add the match too fast, you might lose your match. And then that's all you have. There is a process to how this goes. It takes big pieces and little pieces. Everybody has to participate. It takes the big firewood and the little kindling and the little tinder to make it work. But the most important is the what? It's the little breath, because without that little bit of wind, just a little bit of wind, a little bit of right into the center of the tinder and the kindling, it's not going to be able to catch to each other on the inside. Y'all with me? Anybody making the connection yet? Anybody see where I'm going yet? 4 people had it. That's awesome. You don't want your fire to be out of control, right? You don't want it to be going all over the place. It has to make some sense or other people can get hurt. Is anybody with me? In the book of 2 Timothy, Paul is writing to his younger friend, Timothy. And Paul is writing from prison. So if you can imagine Paul, and Paul is always in prison. I love Paul. Paul is in prison. He is. He's always in prison writing letters. Love it. So he's in prison. He's writing Timothy, and he's saying to Timothy, hey, Timothy, I remember when I saw you last, you were crying. You were crying. You weren't happy. You were crying about some things that were going on, and I just want to remind you of who you are. That's basically what Paul was writing to Timothy. He said, I want to remind you. I want to remind you that your grandmother Lois and your mother Eunice were some strong believers. They were strong believers. They were women who prayed. They believed in this gospel. They weren't ashamed to spread it. And I want you to know that you're a part of your grandmother and your mother. Timothy, you were born of these 2 women that were strong. They were strong. They believed in you, and they believed in the God in you. And so Paul's telling Timothy, I don't want you to forget that. He reminds Timothy that there is great faith inside of him. Because of his grandmother and his mother, there's something that he was born with that's on the inside of him. And he tells Timothy, I want to remind you to fan into the flame the gift of God, which is in you through the laying on of my hands. For the Spirit God gave us does not make us timid, but gives us power, love, and self-discipline. He tells Timothy to fan into the flame. Fan into the flame. Does anybody know what fan the flame means? Anybody? We say you bring it alive. I looked up the definition, and it said to stir up something that has been lost. To stir up something that has been lost. Maybe you lost a love. Fan the flame of a lost love. Fan the flame of a lost opportunity. Fan the flame of a misguided relationship. Fanning the flame of a forgotten dream. When you fan the flame of something, it comes back, right? When you add a little to it, something starts to build up again, right? If you're at your campfire and it starts to go down, you add a little something, it warms it up again, right? That's fanning the flame, giving it a little something to bring it back, to make it better or stronger, not to bring something back into your life to cause you distress or pain, but something that's going to make you better and stronger. Paul was reminding Timothy that he must fan the flame of the gift of God because the spirit that God gave us is not the spirit of timidity. It's not the spirit of, what did it say in this training? Cowardice. It's not the spirit of let me go run and hide in the shadows so nobody will see me. It's not the spirit of selfishness or lusting. It's not the spirit of trying to have control over somebody or wanting to be power hungry. It is the spirit of love and power and self-discipline. Paul was trying to say to Timothy, this spirit was passed down to you, and it lives inside of you, and don't be ashamed to tell people about this gospel because it already lives in you. You can't help it. You can't tame it. You can't hide it. It's already in you, Timothy. The breath of the Spirit can blow new life into whatever you think you've lost. Paul remembers seeing Timothy crying, and he says, Timothy, don't think that these big things are things to knock you out of the park, but they're here to help you out. I wonder how many Timothys we have in here this morning. I wonder how many of us have burnt out because we're moving too fast or moving too slow. I wonder how many of us in here are not building our fires properly. I wonder who in here has forgotten that they come from a long line of somebody praying for you. There's been some grandmothers and some mothers and some fathers and some grandfathers and some uncles and some aunties and some cousins and some strangers who have been praying for you. I wonder how many people in here are just going day to day, waking up and building tiny little sorry, pitiful fires, only to end your day all burnt out. We start the day thinking, I'm going to put this together real quick, woo, and you get to 12 noon and you are ready to hurt somebody because your fire is wimpy. And you get to the end of the day, and you're flat out on your face because your fire is out. I wonder who's using the wrong tinder, who's using the wrong kindling, who's using the wrong firewood, who's using the wrong people, the wrong resources, the wrong source of faith, the wrong source of love, the wrong source of energy. Who's using the wrong breath? I wonder if anybody in here has been depending on somebody else to light your fire. Y'all know that song, "Come on, baby, light my fire." Y'all know that song, right? Oh, no, everybody don't know that song. Only the bad people know that song. I'm in trouble then. You know that song, "Come on, baby, light my fire." Today is the day that you're not looking for baby to light your fire, but you're looking to Jesus to light your fire. I'm worried that our issue is that we're waiting on somebody else to light the fire within us. I'm worried that too many of my sisters are waiting for that spectacular brother, thank you, Jesus, to come through the door and light that fire. Let me tell you, sisters, that fire is already in you. I'm afraid that there are some married folks, you're waiting on your spouse to light your fire. That fire's been lit a long time ago. I'm worried that some people are waiting on their boss to give them some encouragement and a pat on the back to light their fire. Let me just break it down. Everybody's boss is not so encouraging. That doesn't mean you stop working. Maybe somebody's waiting on their children to light their fire and tell them, "Oh, Mom and Dad, you're the greatest. I appreciate you." Guess what? That may not ever happen. That doesn't mean that you stop loving them. That doesn't mean that your fire doesn't burn for them. It is nobody's responsibility to light your fire but you. Maybe that's a bit harsh. Maybe it doesn't make a lot of sense to people, but just for my own self, let me preach to myself for a minute. It is nobody's responsibility to make me happy. It's nobody's responsibility to make me want to be closer to God. It's not the preacher's responsibility to spoon feed me the word. It's nobody else's responsibility to light what's already inside of me. I have to tap into the thing that's been passed down to me. It is not your responsibility to make me happy, and guess what? It's not mine to make you happy. I love you with every fiber of my being, but I can't make you happy. I can't make you, nobody can make you anything. That's a choice. That's something inside of you. Now, I can make you happy by giving you $20. That would really make you happy, wouldn't it? If I gave it to you out of love and said, "Yeah, Lavinia, I've just been praying. I wish I had money in my pocket. I'd totally hook you up right now. If Lavinia, I just want to give you this because, oh. No, man, I gotta. I wish I could I want to give you this because the Lord is speaking to me, and I want to bless you, and I want to do this, and that would make you happy, right? But if I woke up in the morning and said, "I really want her to love me. I really want her to like me. I'm gonna give her this because I'm afraid she might not love me," that's not real love. I can't make you love me. God can't make us love. It's something that we have to do from what's already inside of us. Don't depend on somebody else for your happiness. That wasn't in there. I don't know where that came from. Maybe somebody needed to hear that one. It's already inside of you. All you need is a little bit of kindling and a little bit of tinder and a little bit of firewood to keep it going. Jesus is funny. There's something about when you're fueled by the power of Jesus. There's something about when God rekindles something you thought you lost. Is there anybody, there's a time in your life where you thought you lost something, there was a dream in your mind or in your heart, and you thought you lost it, and then God just dropped a little kindling inside of you and said, "Oh, you thought I forgot about that? I didn't forget about that." Or maybe you thought that there was a situation you'd never be able to get through or get around or get over or get under, and all of a sudden this big firewood, this big blessing, this big something from God sparked inside of you, and you said, "That's my way out. That's my way around. That's my way under. There is an energy. There is something that happens that nobody can ever put out. There is something. There is something about when the Spirit begins to move inside of you, when this breath of God begins to build in you, that it changes everything. There's new life where things seem to be dead. There's a new spark where things seem to be dull. There's peace where there once was fear. There's joy where there once was hatred. You can't be joyful and hate somebody at the same time. That's a conflict of interest. It's not going to work. I can't say I'm a joyful person, but I'm looking at somebody out of my corner of my eye and I'm hating them. They can't go together. There has to be one or the other. I'm either going to have the joy of the Lord or the devil on my back. The way that we show others. I can't make you, but I can show you. I can live my life in a way that shows you that this is what God can do when something is resparked. I can show you the passion of God. I can show you what happens when the Spirit of God changes your circumstance. And so there's no longer hatred, but there's joy. There's hard times, but there's joy. There's some bumps, but there's joy. Something happens when God breathes the breath of deliverance. Nobody is left behind. Something happens when God breathes the breath of assurance. There is no doubt what God can do. Building a successful fire in your soul, building your passion, igniting that spark in your heart, that takes some preparation. That takes some time, some energy, some teamwork, some patience. Just like building a real fire, it requires you to pay attention to each step. It requires you to pay attention to each step, to each level. You just can't go jump and start something new. You just can't go jump in and you're in love and you're moving so fast. There is a process. I don't have a timeline for the process, but there is a process to everything. Because that's how God shows up in the process of building your passion and your gifts and your fire. When God begins to work inside of us, it's not instant. It requires some care by the source. Don't you think that just because you're not where you want to be right now, that God has stopped working? Don't you believe that just because maybe your family is acting a hot mess right now, that God has stopped blessing your family? Don't you be convinced that just because you're feeling lonely right now means that God's given up on you. He's just working on you. He's just adding a little kindling. He's just adding a little tinder. He's just adding a little firewood to make you stronger, to make you bigger, to make you better, so that whatever comes your way, you got it. Not because you're so great or I'm so great, but because God is so great. Sometimes I think that I have everything under control. Anybody else think they have everything under control most of the time? You can be honest. We're family. It's okay. It's all right. This will only be on YouTube, but they can only see me. They can't see you. No, seriously. Anybody think they have stuff under control most of the time? Thanks for being honest. I really sometimes think, I got this. I got this. I can handle this. Wake up in the morning, I'm like, I got this day. Boom, boom. I'm about to roll out of here. I'm going to get in my car. I'm going to go to the church. I got it. I step in the building, and I realize I ain't got it. Jesus, I ain't got it. I make a beeline for the prayer room. I go find my partner, Norman. Please pray for me because I ain't got it, Jesus. I'm so glad that I don't have to have it. I'm so glad that I'm not the one in control. The greatest thing is, even though on my way here I think I'm in control, I got Aqueelah blasting, I'm going, the windows are down, I'm singing, how great is our God, I got this day, Jesus, I'm in control. God is laughing like, this kid's hilarious. She don't have nothing under control. She don't know what she's doing, but I love her so much that I'm going to make sure I try to work some stuff out for her. And sometimes things don't go just the way we plan, and we get discouraged and go, well, the fire must be gone. Jesus must not love me. This may not be the place for me. He's just adding a little kindling, a little tinder, a little firewood, because something great is coming. I believe that he has all things, the big things and the little things, the good things and the bad things, the good-smelling things and the bad-smelling things, the good-tasting things and the bad-tasting things, the things I like to do and the things that I don't like to do, the people I like and the people I don't like. I believe that he has all of these things under control for my good. For my good. Imagine if we had control. That's what's wrong with the world now. Oh, that's what's wrong with the world now. If anybody's been watching the news, that's what's wrong with us right now. People think that they are in control instead of going to the absolute source of our fire. If everybody went to the source, imagine what this city would be like. Imagine what this community, imagine what this church, imagine what your family, imagine what your life would be like if you let him have control. We still have to do some things. Even though God is in control, that doesn't mean we sit back in the recliner, boop, put our feet up and get a drink. No. You still got work to do. Don't act like y'all don't sit in the recliner with little. Y'all's looking at me like I'm the only one who relaxes. Sit back with a little iced tea or a cup of hot tea or something, some milk or some Kool-Aid or something. Sit back. No. There is work to be done. There are things that we have to do. We're the ones who make the connections. We're the ones who make the relationships. We are God's hands and we are God's feet. But God holds everything in his hands. Y'all know the song. He's got the whole world in his hands. God is the one who is the great I am. He's the great I am. There's nobody bigger. There's nobody greater. He is the great I am. He is the Alpha and the Omega. He is the beginning and the end. I am comforted by the fact that I am at the beginning of something, and he's at the end just waiting on me to get there. That makes me excited. That starts to stir up the fire on the inside. That's my spark when I think he is the beginning and the end. When I think that he holds all power and glory and dominion and honor in his hands, that does something on the inside of me. That's the kindling and the tinder and the firewood. Come on, somebody. I'm so glad that God is the one who sees all and knows all. I'm glad that he is the great provider and the great protector and the great physician and the great giver of life and the great sustainer of our souls. I'm so glad that God is the one who makes a way out of no way. There's somebody in here today, you think you're in something and there is no way out. I got some good news for you. There is a way out. And he's going to guide you through it. Oh, you might smell the smoke now. It might be all on your clothes, and if you're a girl, you know, it might be in your hair. And you don't like the smell of this. Well, I have no hair, so it's not in my hair. The smell of the smoke might be, you might smell it, you might feel the heat, but guess what? He's got your fire under control. You're not going to go snapping off all over the place unless you make the choice to do it. He's got it under control. I'm so glad that God is the one. He's the only wise God. He's the one who keeps us from falling. We always say, like, I fall, but I get back up. I'm standing. But guess what? If we really fell, we wouldn't be here. We wouldn't be here. 89 years. 89 years of a spark doing something. You can't tell me. You can't tell me. You can't tell me that we've fallen. I know we got some hard times. People, all kind of things are happening. But 89 years of witness tells me that we fall a little bit. We might stumble, but God helps us right back up. God is the one who catches us. God is the one who protects us. That's a witness. Y'all should be actually shouting right now for 89 years of something great. God is the one who sets us on our path. Even when we decide to take a detour, he brings us back. When we decide to create this little path over here because we think we're in control and we'll just keep going this way, somehow God just says, oh, honey, come on back. Sweetie, no, come on back. Child, come on, son, come on. He's the one who lights our fire. He is the one who builds us up and gives us the spirit of love and power and self-discipline and a sound mind and self-control and direction and wisdom and understanding. And we just have to tap into it. Nobody in here can tell me I can't control myself. There's something inside of you. There is a fire already inside of you, just a little. Somebody, you can't tell me in here I just went off on that person because, that's who I am. That's not who you are. Oh, you know what? I can't give my time. I can't come to, Jamaica Village and help out because I don't have the time. It's not your time. There is something inside of you that is begging, it's burning, it's pulsating, it's asking, it's demanding, it's requiring you to light it. I can't build this fire alone. No, I need God to help me. Maybe you don't need God to do it. Instead of come on, baby, light my fire, I need Jesus to light it. Come on, Jesus, light my fire. Will you give God control today? Will you give him control? Some of the most successful and most peaceful moments in my life have been when I've given God control, not when I've given up. There's a difference between giving up and giving control to God. When I give up, I'm not giving it to God, I'm just giving up. I'm not giving it to anybody, I'm just done. And we've had those moments, right? Yeah? 8 people said, yes, Lord. The rest of y'all just wink at me. I know. But you just wanted to give up. Now, I'm just done. I don't want to take it to the Lord. I don't want to take it to the church. I don't want to take it to nowhere. I'm just done. There's a difference between giving up and giving it to God. When you give it to God, something happens. Things are still moving. You're still working, and that fire is still burning. When you let God breathe something into your life, into your soul today. Maybe you already feel the heat a little bit. It's a different kind of heat. Will you let him just breathe a little bit? Will you tap into that spirit to ignite that passion? The reason why we're doing this thing on August 9th, the business breakfast, is because maybe there's this lost opportunity you thought you've missed. Maybe somewhere back in your past you thought, I have this great idea for a business. And then somebody told you weren't good enough. But that spark is still inside you. Here's a little tinder and a little kindling on August 9th. Maybe you've got some relationships and maybe your marriage is going through some stuff and you're thinking maybe it's time for us to just give up. Add a little tinder and a little kindling. Take them out on a date. Let me give you some practical stuff. How about that? Because sometimes we leave on Sunday, we go, that sounds really great, but nobody actually gave me stuff to do, right? Here we go. I'm going to give you something to do. If there was a spark in you and you want to start a business, there was just something, right? August 9th, you want to see Ishmael Carter today. Boom, tinder, kindling. If you and your husband and your wife, you haven't really been connected and you can't understand why, today is Sunday, maybe you're not going to work, take them on a date. Let me give you a nice little place. You can take them by the water, walk them around, sing them some love songs. Don't sing them, come on, baby, light my fire. But sing them some love songs. Look into that. Tell them you love them. Tell them you appreciate them. Here's some real words to say. I appreciate that you did the laundry yesterday. Boy, that'll make me shout. I appreciate that you took that letter to the mailbox for me on Friday. Little things make a big difference. Just like the tinder and the kindling, everything makes a good, successful fire, right? So the little things, thank you for what you're doing. If you've been having some problems and you haven't been communicating at all, write them a note. Send them a text. Catch them on Facebook. I just want to say in front of the whole world, I love this man or this woman that I'm married to. And you don't even have to look them in the face. They'll get it. Oh, my goodness, he proclaimed his love on Facebook. It'll be wonderful. Maybe you're with your kids and you haven't been able to connect with them and you're trying to figure out, what do I do? Some great movies came out this weekend. Take them to see Hercules. Your son would love it. They think you are the greatest parent on the face of the earth. You may hate Hercules. It may be the worst movie. Put your earbud in and just listen to a little gospel music. You'll be fine. Maybe you're a woman in the sanctuary and you're trying to figure out, man, I wish, I don't know a whole lot of people. I'm a little nervous. Guess what? If you stay back with Melissa and I for about 5 minutes, we got something for you. We're going to fix that right up. See how the church is helping you? If there's this fire inside of you, say, man, I have this last 8 pounds to lose. I wish that I could do it, but I just don't know how. Guess what? On Wednesdays, you can come and work out. You can come out and work on Thursdays. You can come work out on Saturdays. If you come out and work out on Saturdays, bring your oxygen tank because she is going to work you out. Maybe you're like, I want to make this connection with God, and this fire for Bible study and prayer is dimming a little bit. You want to know the best way to start that fire up on Tuesday nights? Step into this place on Tuesday nights. You will run out of here on fire. I want to give you some practical stuff so you don't look at me crazy next week and go, she was just up there talking about stuff. Look, my K-Love person, Sarah, she listens to the radio all the time. In your car, if you're driving to work and you know it's going to be some nonsense, some tomfoolery going on when you step into your office, turn on K-Love and just listen to a little bit of something. And it'll start to change your heart and it'll light your fire. It's not just about coming in here and hearing it and say, that was really great. Yeah, I feel good when I walk out. But then the devil smacks me and nothing is better. There are practical, real things you can do to be better. If you're feeling lonely, go find a date. You can go online. You can find a friend who has... Come on. Can I be just honest with you today? Let me take off the Reverend Aqueelah hat real quick. Seriously, though. If you have a friend who's great and you think you should be hooked up with somebody, you got another friend and go, bring them together, come on. You have some single male friends. We have mostly ladies in here, right? Honest, I can be honest, we're not putting this on YouTube, just between me and you, all right? You got some male friends, bring them to church so they can meet some of these beautiful ladies in the congregation. I can be real. Y'all looking at me like I'm crazy, but I'm dead serious. I want to reignite something inside of you because maybe that's what's keeping you from helping somebody else. Maybe all of your energy is on, oh, I'm lonely, or oh, I'm sad, or oh, I need to lose weight, or oh, I need some relationships with some men or some women, or oh, I really wanted to start this, but I can't. We did tutoring for kids. Maybe my kid is struggling and I don't know how to help him. Dude, we offer the greatest tutoring ever. Logos is coming. You want to bring your family together. Maybe there's something in you say, I just want to serve. I just want to do something. We have over 100 people in this building a week. Show up on Wednesday. I'm going to stop now before I get myself in trouble. Let me tell you, that wasn't me. That was Jesus. Listen, my prayer, my deepest, honest, for real prayer for this congregation, for everybody in this room, is that something catches on fire for you. Something that you thought was lost, or something you've been hiding, something that you've been blowing out yourself. That it's relit and you just, because you don't want nobody else to see it, because somebody might laugh at me, because somebody might think I'm crazy. Maybe you have something that's going to spark my fire. Maybe what you have is going to make me move. Maybe what you've experienced is going to help me to start my life over again, or continue it, or to move higher, or to move better. I don't know what it is, but I'm praying so hard. I'm praying so very hard that starts to light up in you again. Because if it doesn't light up in us as individuals, it's not going to light up this church. And we can't do what God called us to do if we're walking around with a bunch of unlit people. Why don't you bow your heads for me this morning? If there's anybody in this place who you've never accepted Jesus as your Savior, never in your life have you said, Jesus, I believe that you died on the cross for me. If you've never said those words, can you just raise your hand? There's nobody looking but me. If you've never said those words, okay, you can put your hand down. If you have said those words before, and you've accepted Jesus into your heart, but you're feeling like your passion, your fire has burnt out, can you raise your hand? Thank you. You can put your hand down. If you feel like your fire is burning, it's burning. You may not be where you want to be, but it's burning. There's a passion that's still on fire. Can you raise your hand? You can put your hand down. The people whose fire is still burning, I'm going to ask for you to don't move from your seats and don't look around. Just pray for the people who had their hands up, who said they wanted to burn. You don't have to know their name, but pray that they feel what you feel. And pray that they can experience what you experience. And pray that they can be in relationship like you're in relationship and better, so that as they get better, you get better. And if you're the person who says, I need it, pray for yourself.